Okay, students, this is an instruction video for building your solar cars. This is not the only way to build it. Remember, you only are required to use a solar panel and your motor as your power source, but you can use whatever type of wheel, construction body that you'd like to. This car, though, that I'm going to build, all the materials are here at school. It's pretty fast. It does take a little patience. I'm going to do my best to show you. Make sure you look at your instruction sheet and have all the materials ready and available so that you can build your car like this. So here we go. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our body. The body that I'm going to make is going to be 18 centimeters by 8 centimeters. I've already cut one of the straight edges by simply taking my ruler, making a straight edge, and then measuring, this way, straight edge, and then measuring over 18 centimeters, and making two other marks, and squaring that up. Now, I'm going to do my best to create a parallel on the other side. Luckily, I had a straight edge that I was using over here, and most of your cardboard do have a straight edge, so from that straight edge, you then can measure the width of your car. So again, it's going to be 18 centimeters by 8 centimeters. But again, you can make your car whatever size that you would like, as long as it works. Okay, so I'm going to make a mark, 8 centimeters, and then I'm going to go to the other side and make another mark, 8 centimeters. I will then draw and connect the two lines, making sure that I line this up. Now before I cut, I'm going to go ahead and measure to make sure that I've got everything nice and square and that it's right on the marks that I want. Okay, all right. Okay, that looks to be like what we want, so we're going to go ahead and cut that nice and straight. Remove that extra piece. Okay, so there I have the body of the car, and again, you can make it whatever size you like, but make sure that your solar panel will fit, on there. You can't have it too wide because your axles that we are providing, unless you use a different axle, as you can see, just has enough room here. So that's the purpose behind the 8 centimeters. The length, that can vary. A longer car is going to weigh a little bit more. A shorter car is going to be harder to keep straight. So you have to decide. But again, this one was 18 by 8 centimeters. I am now going to create axle points for my axles to attach. To do that, I'm going to measure a centimeter in on each side of the ends here. So I'm going to go centimeter in, and you can make yours 2 centimeters or whatever you want to do. I'm just going to go a centimeter in on both sides. Now this is kind of important. You want to draw a straight line here. That will be where you're going to try to mount your axles to. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and measure to the other side using this line to start with. So looks like I'm going to go with 17 because I started with 18. And let's see, so that gives me 16 centimeters in between here. So I'm on the 17 mark. I'm now going to put a mark on the 1 and then do the same thing on the other side. So it gives me a nice straight line. I'm going to connect it. Now again, you want to make sure everything is nice and square, so I'm going to check my measurements here. And I know this kind of seems too much work, but it will really help if you have everything nice and straight here. And if you make a mistake, just make a new mark. Make sure it's nice and square. I was a little high right there, so Now it's right on the mark. Okay, so now I've got that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut pieces of my straw to place as my axle mount. So we're going to cut, these will be about, if you want to get a measurement here, these can probably be anywhere between 1 centimeter and 2 centimeters. I'm going to make mine right in the middle at about 1.5 centimeters. You want to cut these straight across, nice and careful. It doesn't have to be perfect on these, but you want them fairly straight across so they don't rub. And I lost one of the pieces, so I'm just going to cut another one. Okay, so that's all you need the straw for. And if you have any edges that are not flat, make sure you trim them so they're nice and flat. Okay, now I'm going to take my hot glue, and what we're going to want to do is place these, as you can see, right on top of that line. Okay, so our axe will run through it. But before we do that, we're going to have to trim away some of the body so the wheels do not rub. To do that, you're going to want to angle on each corner. And then you're going to want to trim out a little bit of the body. Again, not on the mark, but just a little bit, so the wheels do not rub. It doesn't take much, but it needs to be done so the wheels don't rub. Because if you forget this part, it's kind of hard cutting it with the wheels on. Okay, we'll put that over there. All right, so let's mount our brackets here. All right, so we're going to put a little bit of glue right in here, not a lot. And we want to make sure we're right on top. Now notice that the straw is hanging over the edge just a little bit. That way the wheel will rub on the straw and not the cardboard. So you want to make sure your cardboard is just inside of, you can see just inside of the straw. And if you have to, peel away some of the cardboard. Let's do the same thing on the other side. And using that line as our mount. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Right on top of the line. Okay. Now if you put enough glue and got it on there with it hot, it should stick just fine. If you are not sure, you can add a dab of glue on each side to kind of hold it in place here. Don't go crazy with the glue because that will create friction and that will slow your car down. Okay, now we have our mounts. Okay, now we're ready to trim up our wheels. This takes a little practice. If you mess up on it, do it over. But what you want to do is you want to get down to that very thin part of the wheel that's nice and round. To do that, you got to trim away this edge here. So lay your scissors sideways here and just start trimming. And you want to keep your scissors nice and flat. I've done this before, that's why it looks so easy. It's not, but you'll get the hang of it. Okay, there's one wheel. And you might need to come back through and trim these if you have any parts that are sticking up a little too high. Let's see if I've got a spot here. Yeah, a little bit right there. Okay, there's two wheels. Again, if you mess up, just get another one. Okay, there's 3 wheels. All right, there's 4 wheels. Okay. Now, we need to mount our pulley system to the inside part of our wheel. As you can see here, this is what it's going to look like here. And so we're going to put the wheels on the end, but we want to put our pulley system on here. These will press on. Just be careful. And if you snap your toothpick like I just did, you're going to have to get another one here. And that does happen. Now when you press this on, you want to turn it to where it sits just inside of that sharp part here. You don't want it on the edge. You don't want it too far in. Hopefully I've got another toothpick here. Okay. So it's just inside there. Now if you can't press it on there, use your sandpaper. Okay. Now, so we have our wheel system here, and this is going to fit through here. Okay. And as you can see, this car's starting to take shape. So now we got to get these wheels on these edges here. Couple of things in preparation. I'm going to just take the sandpaper and just barely hit the edges of your axle, just to make it easier to go through the wheel. Okay, and putting these wheels on is kind of cool, so here we go. To do this, you're going to need to get the candle, light your candle, okay, and hold your nail at the end. But what we're going to do is we're going to heat the nail up and we're going to press it through the middle of our wheel and kind of melt it here. If you do this carefully, you should make a nice tight fit around the axle. Try to make sure that you're in the middle of the wheel. So you want to heat your nail up. Now I'm going to go from the outside in here. If it doesn't go through quickly, then you got to heat your nail up a little bit more. All right, that should do it. And there it goes. Okay? So you want to do all of your wheels that way. It's kind of cool. Make sure after you're done, though, you don't touch the end of the nail, because that part is hot. But the part that I'm holding is not hot at all. Try to make sure you get right in the middle. I was off a little bit on that one, but it should be okay. Okay. Place your nail somewhere where it's not going to hurt anybody, and then blow your candle out. All right, so we're ready to mount the wheels here. Now, as you can see here, the wheels will go on. Okay, now I'm just going to put this together just to kind of show you what it looks like before I hit this with any glue. The reason you're going to need glue, it's just too flimsy without it. But as you can see, these wheels fit on here fairly snug, and the car's starting to take shape here a little bit. You want your pulley wheel right up against the pulley. You want to leave a little space. You need a little space for the rubber band. Okay. Now, one of the things that you can do at this point after you figure out, that it's going to work is you can start thinking about friction at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to use the graphite, a little bit of graphite in here to kind of help it spin in the straws. Okay. Okay. Now it looks pretty wobbly, so what we're going to do is we want to make sure that we don't have too much play here. We want to tighten it up a little bit, and then we're going to add just a dab of glue, not a lot. If you add a lot, you're going to get friction. Now after I add the glue, I want to make sure I keep the wheel nice and straight. Okay. You can practice spinning it and just making sure that the wheel is staying straight. This part just takes a little patience. If you mess it up, it's just hot glue, so you can redo it. Now you can see that it's already firming it up a little bit there. Okay. Now we're going to do the other side. Oh, I moved it. I'll let that thing dry. Put a little more hot glue on that side. All right, put some on this side. And again, you want to make sure, and that's not bad. I'll let it dry. Okay, not bad. Now we're going to do the other side. Again, a little friction removal. I do have a bad spot on this axle, so I'm going to try to avoid that by bringing it in a little bit farther. Let's see if we can do that. Now at this point is when you got to be very careful because these cars are pretty flimsy. So this is where your patience will, and if you mess up, do it over. Okay, not bad. Put a little glue and straighten it out. Let's go to the other side. Now, I have a little problem here. I didn't trim enough on the body here, so this wheel is touching. It's rubbing slightly on the body of the car. So what I'm going to need to do is trim that away a little bit. I have a few glue strands hanging around here. Looks like the other sides are okay. You might need to, bend the glue a little bit. It does. It will work with you a little bit. If not, put a little more hot glue on there and kind of hold it in place. It's the part that you're going to have to modify and work with, getting that thing nice and straight. So I'm going to trim this, and it doesn't take much, but I'm going to have to be careful. Okay. All right, so now you want to make sure at this point, make sure all your wheels are fairly straight, okay, and there's not too much play. Remove any extra glue. Make sure your car rolls, okay, and as you can see, we're almost there. Okay, your rubber band, you want to put that around the wheel, okay, and your motor mount will have already a Velcro side on it, so make sure you find the matching Velcro side, and that's what you're going to want to put down on the surface of your car. So I'm going to do this way. I'm going to put the Velcro on, okay, and I'm not going to peel the back off yet until, and I'm going to put the motor in the mount here. And I'm going to take the motor and wrap the rubber band around it. Now you don't want this too tight, but you don't want it too loose. And you want it you want this straight across, okay? If you don't get that straight across, if it's at an angle, it will come off. If it's too far over, you can adjust it a little bit, but you want to have it perfect. You don't want it tilted this way or this way. So you want to have it perfect when you do mount it. So this is a very critical part. So I'm going to peel off my tape here, okay, and hopefully I get this correct on the first one. Okay, so not too tight, not too loose. I'm going to go with right there. Once you have that, press it down nice and firm, okay, and by turning the mount, you can see that it turns, okay. All right, so now we're going to your solar panel may have Velcro on it already. If it does, make sure you match the other type of Velcro onto. I like to use the top of the motor, but you can put it wherever you'd like. I'm going to put mine just right up here. Okay. Now the two alligator clips fit onto the motor, and they will cause the motor to turn one direction. If you switch the red and the black, then the motor will run in the opposite direction. So you'll just have to figure that out. You'll have to play with that to see which one you want or which direction you want. Also, if you're running it in the morning and you want these solar panels facing the sun, so figure out what angle to use to get the most sun going towards your solar panel. And I'm going to mount mine about right there. Now you might need to manipulate this a little bit, but as you can see, our car is done. And now we're going to take it out and give it a test run. Okay, so we got our car outside here, and we're going to watch it run. There it goes. Okay, this is a troubleshooting guide. If your car happens to turn a certain direction, then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to square up or parallel up your axles. If you take your straw and pull it off and then move it to the correct position, make sure you measure and they're exactly the same distance across, and then re-glue it, you should be able to get your car to go straighter. Okay, if your car happens to turn a direction, you're going to have to remove carefully one of your straws. Make sure you measure again the distance across. They've got to be perfect, and then re-glue it. And that should take care of it. Crash. Okay, good luck, Bruins.